Welcome everybody to NAB Stadium in Auchenflower as the Brisbane Capitals host the University of Sunshine Coast Rip City in a huge QBL men's matchup. I'm John Guarna. Tonight I'm joined by Dan George and Dave Derwin. Guys, doesn't get much bigger than this. Finals are on the horizon. Both teams can be affected with the result of this matchup. Should be a huge one. Capitals, if they want to win the regular season championship, must win tonight, while the Rip want to maintain their top 4 position. Dan, going to be an awesome matchup.
It's going to be an awesome matchup for sure, John, and one I'm looking forward to watching for a couple of reasons. Obviously, the ladder positioning for each team. Tonight's game is going to have an impact on both squads, so that's awesome in the last weekend of the season, but individual matchups as well. I think the Anderson-Izzy Tueta matchup, both MVP candidates in my opinion. At the point guard spot's going to go a long way to deciding the match as well, so there's going to be good matchups all across the floor, and obviously big repercussions for either team, win or lose, so it's going to be an awesome one.
Dave, you've seen both of these teams play before. You know what they're going to do. What are your expectations for this matchup? It should be a fairly high-paced game, I'm expecting.
Yeah, I think it will be, and I hope that the Rip bring it and take it to them. I think if that's what they're about tonight, is to test themselves. They're sitting okay on the ladder, and are they a legitimate threat or not? And so tonight's a really good test for this Rip group to come into Auchenflower and see what Brisbane's got.
Rip come into tonight after a tough loss to Townsville last night that really would have helped them with their positioning on the ladder. They did it without Lance Hurdle. They will be without Hurdle again. Guys, that's a huge loss for the Rip in a matchup, especially against a really high-paced, high-intense team like the Capitals.
Well, it was a 5-point loss, I think, last night. So, I mean, Townsville, if they win out, they could take the minor premiership. So to go within 5 points without Lance Hurdle obviously shows the quality of the Rip outfit. But at home, you don't want to lose anything at home, especially this close to the finals. So they'll be disappointed in it. But you're right, he's such a good player. Obviously, NBL experience and a great QBL player the last couple of years. So without him tonight, against a pretty high-powered roster from the Capitals, will hurt them and will test their depth more than anything. I think the concern the Rip will have is in the playoffs is their bigs depth. So Josh Tueta does a great job. Rory Sutton's been really good all year. But I guess beyond those two guys, it falls off. But tonight, at the other side with Dusty Reichart is really the only real big for Brisbane. That doesn't hurt them. So I think you're right. It'll be a high-energy game. Really good to watch and some great skills on either side. But the Izzy Tueta-Anderson matchup, to me, is where it will be decided.
And Capitals will be without Zach Carter. He's been the captain all season. He's had a great year so far, Dave. Capitals, okay, they're pretty deep. They usually go 10 deep anyway. They should be able, I expect them to be able to handle themselves without Carter tonight.
Yeah, well, I think Zach gives them a nice punch in that 4 spot where he's quite mobile as well. And rebounding-wise, they're pretty light. That's probably their biggest weakness throughout the season. But equally, if you go to a small ball and put Princeton at the 4, it's a pretty nice mobile 4-man to roll with. And again, the Rip, they'll like that as well because they're pretty small themselves. So
well, I reckon Princeton at the 4 suits the Capitals better.
Yeah,
I just think in our league, given the size that he has in athleticism, I reckon he's a really good small ball 4 in the QBL. So this could actually be something that helps the Capitals. And when Zach comes back, he might have a hard time getting his starting spot back because I reckon Princeton in that 4 spot's going to look great tonight.
And Onwis comes off a huge matchup, a huge game last week versus the Spartans. He had 38 in that win. You see Dusty Reichart's first jumper is good. It's a deep 2. The Capitals on the board here early. And I'm just going to say it now because I know I'll get to it, but I'm going to get to it early. How is Izzy Tueta not on an NBL roster at the moment?
Well, he's about to get married in the not too distant future, I believe, and maybe he doesn't want to travel. I don't know, but if he was willing to pack up his bags and move interstate, then it's criminal that he's not an NBL roster. But if it's his call to stay local, maybe that's the reason, and that should be the only reason because he's by far and away an NBL quality player.
Well, he's proven that in the NBL last season. He's had a great QBL season.
Well,
arguably an MVP candidate.
Well, I was about to say the same thing. I think he's top 3 for the MVP count, given where everyone had thought the Rip was going to be and where they are now. I mean, he is an MVP candidate for sure.
Meehl hits the 3.
Rip did a good job then of making the extra pass. Really good patience offensively early on from them.
Walter is going to fire a 3 for the Rip. It's an air ball. Reichart saves it. Reichart missed the left-handed layup. And Tuetta's pushing it down court for the Rip. Little floater rolls in and out. Offensive rebound. Josh Tuetta can't get the putback to fall, but he's fouled. He's going to go to the line for a couple shots. When you played at Spartans, did you get to play with Izzy and Josh?
I played with Izzy, not Josh. I mean, Izzy, that was 5 and then 6 years ago. 4 and 5 years ago. And he was a great player then, and just watching his growth since has been great to watch. And Josh, I'm impressed just looking at him physically, given the eye test. I mean, he is in shape. I reckon he's 2 or 3 kilos lighter than he would have been in the Seaball last year. At least that's what he looks like. And which is good because he's going to be relied on for a pretty heavy workload for the Rip in the front court come playoff time.
Yeah, he has been all season. He's had a great year. And he puts the Rip up by 3, 5-2. Reichardt, another long 2. That's good from Dusty Reichardt. He's got all 4 of the Caps points.
Well, defensively, the Rip are going to tighten it up, I think. They've had a couple of sort of loose defensive sets to get the last couple. And I think, you know, they're all happy when the ball's in their hand, but they've got to defend, and they've got to try and do something to disrupt Brisbane, because Brisbane are just in a nice flow offensively and do whatever they want.
Well, the Rip are a team that pride themselves defensively, and when talking to a lot of those guys in the preseason, they spoke about nothing but the importance of the defensive end, so I'm sure that it's going to be a focus for them. Last thing against this Caps team, you've got to stop those ball reversals. If they can just dribble handoff 4 or 5 times,
yeah,
it makes it hard to stop them. But if they can slow that down, then that'll go a long way tonight.
Izzy Tuetta's 3 is off. Reichardt gets a big defensive rebound. Good job in transition from Rip. Anderson's going to fire his own 3. That's swish. And Caps up 2.
Yeah, and that's another example there, Thunder, where again Meal just no hand up. Aaron's certainly in range, and in that nice transitions when they want to get going.
Meal gets called for the travel. Bit of contact on the way through there, but he gets called for the steps. Reichardt, baseline, floater off. Kopskas comes down with it. Corner 3 from Anthony, hits the back of the rim. Ilton comes down with the rebound. Meal can't get it to fall. Dusty Reichardt, another defensive rebound.
I know we've spoken about Dusty in the past, as Princeton shows his range too, but man, at 39, with all the miles on his legs he's got, gee, he looks really good. And I hope he plays on again next year. I mean, he's showed his range tonight, and he just looks really active defensively early.
Josh Tuetta's going to fire a 3. He hits it, cuts the lead to 2. Onwis working on Ilton, finds Kopskas wide open under the basket for 2. How good of an addition has Princeton Onwis been to this Capitals group, guys?
Well, he's the reason that they've stayed at the top of the table. Without him, if they had done a bad job recruiting a second import, they would have been middle of the field this year. They would have found ways to win games just given the style they play, but they wouldn't have been contenders.
Kopskas gets one to go, falling away plus the foul. And now I 100% agree with you on Princeton Onwis. I just think he hasn't had to come in to be the top dog, but he can take over a game like he did last week against the Spartans. I just like his versatility in this group. I think they lack that second import in years past, which may have hurt them come that finals and grand finals time.
Well, I think he certainly likes an NBN coverage as well, because every time we cover him, he blows up for 30 and 40 points, so, or high 30s. And I think, again, that last drive for me was another sign in sort of some pretty brittle Rip defense early on.
Foul called there on Jake Davis. Brisbane's got 3.
I think they're all on Jake Davis too, I believe.
Yeah, they are.
All 3 on Jake Davis, so he's going to come out. That's a tough loss because Jake Davis has been producing really well for the Capitals all season long, averaging 13 points a game.
Well, we've got 5 minutes to go in the first quarter. We won't see Jake till the second half. He's got a long break ahead of him, which hurts. I mean, we've spoken about him in the past. I mean, we like his game, and he's the kind of guy that could go 3 of 9 and not do much, or he could go, 8 of 9 and really blow it open. So it's a big loss for them if he can't play big minutes tonight.
Anderson got called for that one. So 14 fouls here on Brisbane. It's interesting. Rip have Zane Meal running a lot of the offense as well, and Izzy off the ball.
Well, I think there's a combination that Izzy needs to find a balance of, as we see him do just that, is that he has to score. Looking at this squad, especially on a night like this where Lance Hurdle's not on the floor, Izzy Tueta's got to get 25 points, and it's hard to do that if you're always handling the ball too. So if you can put him off the ball, let him come off some down picks where he can be a bit more aggressive offensively to look for his own points. I think they have to do that.
And Coach Nathan Arowski going to take a timeout as Brisbane carving up the Rip defense. It's 17-14 the lead here for Brisbane, just under 5 to go. Timeout on the floor. We'll take one as well. And your QBL Game of the Week presented to you by Nothing But Net Media and Live Sport Australia. Back with you here at NAB Stadium in Auchenflower. Timeout taken there from the University of Sunshine Coast, Rip City. Dave, like the timeout though. You got to get the defense sorted if you want to pull out this win tonight.
Yeah, I know if you're watching the game, you think it's a 3-point game. I just feel watching the game, Brisbane really is getting whatever they want. And in saying that too, the Rip are executing really, really well offensively to date.
Well, most games, the first 2 or 3 minutes,
Izzy Tueta lost the defender and then drained another 3 to tie it at 17.
I didn't realize he's shooting 45% on the season from three-point land. That is unbelievable, someone taking that many shots.
How about Aaron Anderson on that one? A bit of contact falling away, banks it home.
Well, like the first 2 or 3 minutes of a game, most teams just feel each other out. That's what we're seeing, but as Tueta misses one. But at 19-17 with 4 minutes left, both teams have shown they can score, but you don't want to get into a game where the Capitals put on 120, you've got 115. I think the Rip have shown that they can score. That's great, but they need to win this game on the defensive end. But they know that. They know they can't give up 25 points a quarter and win on the road, or at least they know it's much harder if you do that.
That's Zeke Meal firing the 3. It's off. Tipped around and Lamb comes down with it. We got to see someone throw something down here tonight. Too many athletes on the floor for us not to get some jam.
Well, I'm a bit upset Lance Hurdle's not playing for that reason.
Onwist 3-pointers off the front of the rim.
I don't know who from Rip City's going to give me something. I think Princeton Onwist is our only hope. There's no one really else on the Capitals now that Jake Davis won't be seen again for 45 minutes.
Surely Louis can put one down for us. I mean, he's an MMA fighter. I'm sure he's working on his calves. So I'm sure he could get up.
MMA? I didn't know he did MMA. I know he's had
a
boxing match. He's had a boxing match.
Yeah, all right. I get it confused now. You know, Mayweather,
anything,
McGregor.
I think anything to do with gloves on your hands, locked in a ring or a cage with another man is respect. For sure. Louis Hilton does a little bit of everything too. Won't always appear on the stat sheet with huge numbers, but does all the dirty work, doesn't he? He's a tough dude. Well, he's always in great shape. That's one thing. So obviously prepares his body really well for the season, and you're right, he's just really active. And sometimes having lots of energy is a skill because not a lot of guys have it. So the energy he brings, especially defensively, I think is really valuable, even though offensively he may not ever be the focus, but he chips in and does his role perfectly.
Roy Sutton's checked in for the Rip, and Andrew Oleknowitz checks in for the Caps. The master man himself. Good hands there by Izzy Tueta, knocking the ball out of bounds. 14 seconds to go on the shot clock for the Caps. We're all knotted at 19 with 3:16 to go in the first quarter. Onwas looking to go one-on-one with Louis Ilton. There's 5 on the shot clock. He'll fire a deep 3. It's short off the front of the rim.
Well, that's a better defensive set the last couple times from the Rip. Again, if he wants to have three foot out pull-up three-pointers, then I'm sure the Rip are happy with that. Contested threes.
Offensive rebound for Sutton.
Man, Izzy Tueta looks good. He's just creating beautifully for everybody and getting his own stuff at the same time.
Another offensive rebound for Sutton. Meal is fouled there by Princeton Onwas. It's going to be Princeton Onwas' second personal foul. Caps are in the penalty, so it's going to be free throws.
Although he threw them out, I'd like to see him get in there and bang, right? Go straight back at him and again, put the Capitals under pressure, under the rim, get to the foul line, get some cheap offensive rebounds and putbacks. That's another way that you can chip away and hurt him from the foul line, get him in foul trouble. Again, they don't have huge depth. They generally play sort of 8 guys reasonable minutes. With no Zach Carter tonight, Jake Davis taking a holiday for the next half. You know, you've got to try and put him under pressure.
Well, and that's why, like, I don't mind Rory kicking that out because he's only just subbed in. You don't know, he might not feel warm, he might not have good touch. Who knows? He might want to touch the ball 3 or 4 times before he goes and shoots it. And by kicking it out, you make Brisbane play defense for 20 seconds. Board make them play defense. They're playing defense for 35 seconds, which is what you need to do against a team that wants to transition and play up tempo.
Christian Lamb hits a big 3-pointer. Give Brisbane the lead up again by 1, 22-21. Bit of foul trouble here, though, early so far, guys, for the Caps. Onwas has 2, and as we mentioned, Davis out with 3.
And I'm surprised that Onwas is still on the floor. I would, 2 fouls in the first quarter, close game. I'd be really tempted to get him out and protect him and maybe trust your bench a bit more or even get Dusty back in, who's got no fouls.
Well, Oleknowitz just picked up a foul, sending Sutton to the line.
Which is good. I mean, that's exactly what the Rip wanted to do, be physical. I like what Sutton's done there, create a bit of contact, and again, they're in the bonus for the next couple minutes.
And Brisbane's half-court game is good, but it's not nearly as good as their transition game. So by putting pressure on them, stopping the clock, making Brisbane take it out underneath off a foul shot against a set defense, you can see it was 19-17 a few minutes ago, and Brisbane now still stuck on 22, which is still a lot and too much, but it's a lot less than it looked like they were going to have for the first quarter.
Oleknowitz has it, looking for Onwas, nearly threw it away. Wound up with Anderson, though. Here's Onwas. Out to Windsor, he'll fire a 3. That rattles home. 3-pointers are falling, and falling heavy tonight. Neal finds Ilton, who flips it up. It's off. Windsor comes out with it for Brisbane. Onwas out to a wide open Christian Lamb. 3-pointer is good again from Lamb.
Yeah, he's been shooting. He's been playing a little bit more, and he's been shooting the ball well too of late. So Lamb's not coming in and giving them a good contribution.
And we were talking about someone throwing down some jams. I know Christian Lamb can get up and put some. I've seen him put some nice ones down as well. Sutton with a nice layup there.
Yeah, he's looking in good nick too, fit and strong. So it's good to see him out there and getting good minutes.
Onwas out to Lamb. Corner 3 this time is too strong. We've got about 40 seconds to go.
Little fun fact for you: when he was in under 12s.
Talking Christian Lamb?
Yeah, at the Pirate Ship, he was the best kid in the state, by far.
What happened to the junior coaching that made him fall off? Because he's not the best kid in the state now. What were you doing at the Pirates? Not everyone leaves there. Jeez.
Walters hits the 3 to tie it at 28. There's about a 2.5 second differential in the game and shot clock. Anderson gonna work it down as much as he can before he makes his move. Gets his feet in the paint, dumps it off for Windsor, who flips one up. It's off. Sutton comes down with the rebound. There's 2 seconds. Walters flips one up. It'll be good if it counts. Excuse me, it'll count if it was up and good, but it was off. And nonetheless, we're going to head into the quarter time break. All knotted at 28, guys. Quick thoughts of that first quarter of action.
Great to watch, but far too high scoring if the Rip are going to get a win.
Dave?
Yeah, it's certainly entertaining.
It's been entertaining to say the least, guys. We'll take a quick timeout. We'll come back with some statistics and the second quarter of action on your QBL Game of the Week, presented to you by Nothing But Net Media and Live Sport Australia. Back with you here at NAB Stadium in Auchenflower. It's 28 all at the quarter. Taking a quick look at the statistics, Dave. Brisbane shot nearly 50% from the field in that period. Pretty good shooting percentage from the Capitals, Dave.
Yeah, they have, and they've hit 5 threes early on, moving the ball well, 0 turnovers, so a lot to like from the Brisbane's first quarter. And again, the Rip have done okay, 41% from the field. Equally, what's probably kept them in the game a little bit is that they've hit 6 threes themselves. So, you know, they're both, like we said, it's an entertaining game, pretty free-flowing. So, early on, everyone's still moving the ball, which is nice to watch. But again, as we said, 28 for Brisbane's too many, and you've got to, you know, try and slow them down in transition, and you can certainly help by making them bring the ball out of the net every time.
Taking a look at the out-of-town scoreboard, a couple of interesting games happening that could definitely affect the final ladder. Southwest Metro Pirates up 33-17 over the Ipswich Force out at Ipswich. And at the moment, the Sunshine Coast Phoenix leading the Townsville Heat at the end of the first quarter, 26-18.
Well, Townsville are going to kick themselves if they drop that tonight, and that's what cost them home playoff court advantage. The Phoenix have been playing so much better as of late. Give them credit, but Townsville really need to win that.
Well, Townsville, if they want any chance of finishing at the top of the ladder at the end of the regular season, must win that game, and then they must come down here to Auchenflower and win the game tomorrow as well. So if both Brisbane and Townsville win tonight, tomorrow's game is for first place on the ladder. At least that's how I understand it, fellas. We need someone, a real statistician or analytical guy, whatever, to break everything down for us. But I'm pretty confident in saying if both teams win tonight, the game for tomorrow is for first place. Izzy Tueta throws the ball out of bounds. It's a turnover there for the Rip.
Dan, do you know any of the background as to why the ex-Maroochydore crew aren't playing for the Maroochydore boys? Anything in that?
I do not know.
The Meal and Tueta combo?
No, do not know.
I won't pretend like I know either, Dave. I do know they're loving life at the University of Sunshine Coast Rip, though, and they had a great season.
Yeah.
As Reichard again puts one down. It's a good mix of guys that they have, though, this Rip team. as he said in the beginning of the season, as Josh Twetta gets called for an offensive foul. So moving pick on Christian Lamb.
Yeah,
As we were talking about preseason, though, they probably need that little bit extra depth up front, I think, Dan.
They just need one more big in the rotation, and they would be absolutely legit, especially if he was good. But Josh Twetta, I mean, he didn't argue. That was the right call. But he can't get in foul trouble. This team needs him on the floor for 32, 33 minutes plus every night.
I'm sure I heard that the Rip were talking to someone about 6'8", 6'9", Siebel veteran, played at Auchenflower previously, but they just couldn't get him over the line.
There is truth to that rumor.
Corner three is good. They're going to count. There was a 2, excuse me. Then the foul came after the shot on Seb Windsor. So Meal's going to go to the free throw line.
I think it was Kopsikas.
I'm sure they said 5. Yeah, Seb Windsor.
My apologies. After the shot, so another possession. Good opportunity for the Rip.
Well, they must have signalled incorrectly. I mean, Seb was nowhere near the play.
Kopsikas was.
It was Kopsikas.
Kopsikas was head over heels in the front row. So, that's what kills you if you're the Rip.
Well,
that's what kills you.
Back-to-back turnovers on sloppy passes too.
If the Capitals pack in their defense, and as Jack Davis, Coach Tarrant taking a risk here bringing him back in, but with those 3 fouls early in the second quarter, if the Capitals defense, which is really disruptive, causes turnovers, okay, cool, give them credit.
Great dish there from Kopsikas to Oleknowitz.
But if you unforce turnovers, that's what'll kill you against a good team like this.
Walters has it. A lot of perimeter play. Tuetta's going to fire a 3. That's too strong. Lamb tipped it over to Windsor. Oleknowicz 3 is too short. Lamb, though, gets it back out to Windsor. Block there by Sutton on Oleknowicz. That was a great block from Rory Sutton. And to regather it, that takes skill, boys. Good pass from Tuetta to Meal. He can't finish. It's tipped around. Meal comes down with it again. Over to Rory Sutton. Now Tuetta open for 3. It's good from Izzy Tuetta.
Yeah, great job from the Rip. Really patient. Brisbane are running really hard, trying to run the Rip off the 3 really hard. Hard closeouts, and again, the Rip have been really patient with it.
But for anyone watching film against this Capitals team too, after 2 or 3 reversals, see how the Rip are doing a great job penetrating kick. 2 or 3 reversals, this Caps defense breaks down and leads to open shots like that.
Yeah, great hustle there from Oleknowicz, getting down on the hardwood to pull off the steal. Kopsikas
great pass.
Another contested lab. Oleknowicz missed, but it got out to Lamb for 3. That's good from Christian Lamb. He's on fire from deep.
Oleknowicz is about to pass out. He is exhausted. He's working hard, but I think Prince Alonis is about to check in for him. And he, on that made 3, he started walking towards the bench as if it's going to get subbed out. Oh, man, I'm back on D. So Rory Sutton, go at him.
Good pass to Tuetta. 3-pointer is good from Izzy Tuetta. He's got the 3-point shot going tonight. That's his 4th.
Yeah.
He's 4 of 7. Technical called on. They got the technical on Josh Tuetta there. Not sure exactly what happened.
I didn't see it either. I wish I did. I'm guessing there was some type of wrestle. I think Josh Tuetta saying you grabbed around the neck. Well, he was grabbed around the neck, sorry. So I'm guessing Oleknowicz on his way to the bench might have grabbed him. Probably nothing in it. Maybe, I don't know. Wish we could have seen it. And Josh has retaliated and got a technical, which is never great, but it's definitely not great when you're trying to stay out of foul trouble like Josh. It is so important for this Rip team.
Yeah, Josh definitely wasn't happy about something there. You could see him drawing a bit on the towards the Capitals bench. They'll give him a breather. They've only got 4 guys on the court. I don't know who's it. They need someone else because Josh just stepped out. Oh, there we go. I missed Josh Walters guarding the ball. So Rip have Izzy Tuetta, Josh Walters, Zane Meal, Louis Ilton, and Rory Sutton out there. Caps answer with Anderson, who fires the drum shot. That's good. Caps have Anderson, Kopsikas, Davis, Onwis, and Reichardt. They're starting 5 on the court.
2 points, Aaron Anderson.
Meals 3-pointers off. Long rebound. Davis recovers. Davis firing a 3. It's too strong. Defensive rebound to Ilton. They're going to get a foul call. Let's see who they give it to. That one's going on Dusty Reichardt. That's Dusty's first personal. It's the 3rd team foul for Brisbane. The scoring has certainly slowed down a bit, hasn't it, fellas? 4:40 to go, 38-36, the lead for Brisbane.
It was a pretty frenetic pace early on, and so I think both teams are just trying to, again, use a bit more clock, shift the D. That's certainly what the Rip strategy should be against the Caps program.
Meals' jumper is banked home. Didn't look pretty, but it was effective.
Great hands.
Good hands there. Sutton stripped it, but it went out of bounds off of Meal. So Brisbane will maintain possession underneath the Rip basket with 18 seconds on the shot clock.
Yeah, good minutes from Sutton here tonight early on as well.
You can see just to that pace of the game you mentioned, John, I think Izzy Tuetta especially, you can see him really trying to, and it's hard against Brisbane the way they play defense, but he's just trying not to settle for the jump shot, trying to get into the paint, trying to get to the rim. I think the more points in the paint USC can get tonight, the better off they'll be. And it won't come from post-ups, it will come from penetration.
He's not just penetrating to get himself a shot either. He's trying to open things up for his teammates.
No doubt.
His pass is tipped. Anderson saved it to Kopsikas. Kicks ahead for Reichardt. Gives it back to Kopsikas, who lays it in. That's just great end-to-end action from the Capitals on that possession.
Yeah.
Off a turnover. And Rip are going to turn it over. It's part of life, but you can just see Brisbane really good at punishing the turnovers, and that's what happened there.
Yeah, Kopsikas did a really good play there of staying with the ball, working hard, filling the lanes, and getting rewarded. Another turnover.
Yeah, he can't handle the pass, and Anderson comes down with it for Brisbane. Jake Davis in the corner, picks up his dribble. Anderson has it for the Capitals with about 10 seconds to go. Gets in the paint, right-handed layup is good. Anderson leads the Capitals in scoring with 12 points. He's tied for the top in the game with Izzy Tuetta. Both have 12. Neal over to Walters. His corner jump shot is way short. Save, though, to Louis Ilton. His layup is missed, and Davis comes down with it. Now the Capitals.
Maybe he should have dunked it, just like we were asking for.
I don't think he's got it in him, fellas. I think you're overestimating his vertical a little bit.
Reichardt's long two is off. We'll get the message down to him at halftime.
How about some Elvis Presley on the speakers too? How about that? Fantastic.
Kopsikas picks up a foul. 4th team foul. That's the first personal against Anthony Kopsikas. And he's going to get a breather. Seb Windsor going to check in. Lamb's going to check in also. Jake Davis going to take a seat on the bench. Rip have 10 seconds to go on the shot clock. Izzy Tueta looking to work off the Roy Sutton screen. 4 now. He's going to have to pull up for the jump shot. It's too strong. Sutton, another offensive rebound. Goes right back up and lays it in. He heard you, Dave.
Well, they need to be a bit careful with the Rip as far as playing on just on that side on ball, because Brisbane does do a pretty good job of keeping the ball on one side of the floor. And as you saw, the help was all focused on Izzy with the Rip, with the jump shot. And that's what created the offensive rebounding opportunity.
Anderson hits a 3 on the other end. Anderson's got himself a game going here. He's got 15.
Sure is. He's looking really good.
Sutton missed the jump shot. Now Caps looking to increase this 5-point lead of theirs. Lamb's open for 3s. Hit a few. Can't hit that one, though. Rijkaard offensive rebound and puts it in. Neal's three-pointer is wet. 47-43, under a minute to go in the first half. Caps up 4.
The Rip, I think, got to stop it. I reckon they really need to lock in on the Seb Windsors, the Christian Lambs, and don't let those guys go off. Aaron Anderson got himself a game going for sure, but if he beats you, take your hat off.
Louis Hilton offensive rebound.
That's such a bad call, man. That's such a bad call.
You're going to get Louis Hilton for the offensive foul. I'm thinking for the elbow to the chest.
Oh, especially when you're standing at halfway and you can't see it. That's that's just rewarding someone for being small, which is what happened.
That was a good offensive rebound. I think what the Caps were complaining about, they thought the ball should have been called out of bounds because it looked like the ball hit the top of the backboard.
Well, top of the backboard's okay as long as it doesn't hit the clock or any other apparatus, as far as I understood. So it looked like it was fair play, but again, I think it's a pretty weak call on the offensive bow. I didn't even see a bow.
Well, let's go to our resident referee, Regan Baker, for his analysis.
No, Derwin's 100% correct, Dave. I mean, as long as it doesn't hit any of the actual supporting structure, then it's 100% still in play. Any part of the backboard is all good. Any of that blue stuff that you see, the clock, wires, anything like that is out of bounds. So that call was 100% correct. Brisbane just overreacted a little bit on that. But then, yeah, it obviously led to that offensive foul called on Rip, which I agree, Dave, was probably a little bit soft in the context of what was going on.
Well, Aaron Anderson, he's not soft. He got inside, finished through the contact, plus the foul, and he hits the free throw to give the Caps that 7-point lead. Rip going to hold for the final shot of the half here. And Tueta's fouled. That's going to be the 15th foul against the Capitals. Going to send Izzy Tueta to the free throw line for a couple shots with 5.5 seconds to go in the first half.
Well, Tueta's penetration is really causing Brisbane lots of problems, and they're doubling and tripling, and they're leaving guys like Walters and Meal open. And so far they're hitting, which is nice, but they better keep hitting if that's going to be the strategy.
I just hope for the Rip's sake that the Capitals don't come back here and get a bucket, because you're right, John, could have helped for the last possession, and the 2 points is awesome to get, as long as they don't give up a bucket on the other end leading into the halftime break.
Or 3.
2 or 3, whatever it is.
They have it with Anderson. See if he turns the Jets on. Crosses over a couple times. Pump fake, three-pointer up, and good from Aaron Anderson to beat the buzzer. He's giving a shout out to the boys on the bench across from us. That's a huge bucket. The worst case scenario for the Rip becomes a reality.
Well, that's what we said. You got to, I reckon you could penetrate with 2 seconds on the clock, and the way Brisbane plays defense, they will foul you if you get in there. So what you don't want, I'd almost rather the Rip miss than give a home team in front of their home crowd a three-pointer on the bucket with all the momentum. Everyone's excited now. They run off happy. It's just not a great way to end the half. But in saying that, the Rip are down 8 points. It's been a great half to watch. And both teams still have a chance to win, obviously, but not a great way to end if you're the Sunny Coast, but a great finish if you're the Capitals.
Dave, your quick analysis on that first half?
I just want to give a little bit of respect and credit for Anderson with 4 seconds to go. For those young kids out there, he's got a great pump fake, and again he came in low, stayed low with the pump fake, and then nothing but net. Big bucket, big momentum swing for the Caps to close out.
Huge bucket going into the halftime break. We're going to take one as well with the Capitals up 8, 53-45 over the University of Sunshine Coast Rip City on your QBL Game of the Week, presented to you by Nothing But Net Media and Live Sport Australia. Welcome back to NAB Stadium here in Auchenflower. It's halftime, and the score is 53-45 for the Capitals over University of Sunshine Coast Rip. Dave, looking at the halftime stats, what's jumping out at you?
Well, I think offensively, I really like where the Rip are at. Again, they're shooting the ball okay. Certainly, they're shooting the ball well from 3, 9 of 20 from the three-point line, which has been good. The 7 turnovers in the second quarter is one of the things that certainly they need to clean up coming into the third. And equally, the pace of the game, I think, is suiting Brisbane. So it's nice that they're in the game and they've got some good offensive flow, and they're shooting the ball well, getting good points. Distribution, Tuita's got 11. The Tuita brothers have got 11 each as well. And Roy Sutton's come in and given you some good points in offensive rebounding as well. I'd like Louis Hilton to be a bit more involved offensively. I think he's doing a good job of playing good D, crashing the boards, etc. But again, you know, in order to win games like this, I'd like to see him chipping in with 8, 10 points, getting them extra possessions, etc. I think he's handy, and if he can give you 10 points, that's a bonus as well.
Guys, just a quick update on the Townsville Sunshine Coast Phoenix game. At the moment, Sunshine Coast is up 65-49 at the end of the third quarter. Could be a huge win there for the Phoenix, and Townsville could potentially be facing an uphill battle to have that home final, especially since they have to come down to take on the Capitals tomorrow morning.
Well, Braden will probably watch the stats back or watch our feedback, so let's be kind and say the Phoenix have been playing great. Go to Rocky, get a win, go to Mackay, push it overtime, so it's no surprise they're doing well. However, if you want to be a championship team in Townsville, you can't come down and lose in the last weekend of the season to a team who aren't in finals contention at all.
Who's 14th?
You just can't happen.
Yeah, and again, you know, I love that. I love that what Phoenix is doing today, because again, it's come off the back of good confidence of the last couple of weeks, which is good to see.
Well, let's see if they could finish it off, because they have had big leads going into final stanza and dropped it, but that's a learning experience. Meal gets called for the turnover with his team down 10.
Well, probably the more interesting thing too, I think, Johnny, is if they do end up losing well, which it looks like, how they bounce back tomorrow against Brisbane.
It's going to be a tough game tomorrow. We will be streaming that for you live here on the Basketball Queensland YouTube channel. Dusty Reichardt hits his first 3 of the night, gives the Caps a 13-point lead. A lot of contact on Meal fouled. Going to give that one to Jake Davis. Yeah. That's his 4th personal. He definitely got him on the head or the arm at least.
Yeah, I thought it looked clean-ish from him. I thought Kopsakis was the foul, but
he definitely got fouled. I don't know by who, but
yeah.
I mean, Jeff demands intensity, and so that's how they all play, and they have one speed. However, if I'm Jake, I'm saying, man, I've got 3 fouls. Let's just make it obvious that I'm not fouling here, because I've got to stay on the floor. He's got 4 fouls, and I don't know if he might have 0 for 1, I think, from memory, 1 shot. Very unlike him.
Yeah, unfortunately, it sounds like the live stats are down, so we'll try and keep you up to date with the statistics as best as we can. We do know for sure that the score is 58-47 now. So Onwis misses a floater, and Hilton comes down with it.
And to your point earlier, Dave, that's where Louis got to put his stamp on the game, I think, is on the defensive end. If he can play awesome defense, pick up 7 or 8 rebounds on the defensive end of the floor, as Tuita, good-looking shot. If that's what Louis can do, and then he can go down and get a couple of O-boards or a couple of layups, I think that's where he has the most benefit for this Rip team, in my opinion.
Reichardt has it with 10 on the shot clock,
yeah.
Drives baseline.
Well, he hasn't scored, Dan. He has got 6 rebounds, but he does average, you know, almost 8 points and almost 7 rebounds a game, which is, again, that's the bare minimum that they need out of him in order to be successful.
But they're never going to come down and say, let's run a play to get Louis in the post. Like, he's going to get his points off O-boards, off set a pick for Izzy Tuita, roll hard to the rim, get a catch, layup. That's where he's got to get his buckets.
Anderson takes a few jab steps, gets it over to Davis. Corner 3 is short.
Well, both of his threes haven't looked good either. Just for whatever reason.
Nice hesitation there from Meal. He'll finish at the rim, cuts the lead to 9.
Just looks like he's really reaching at it versus just a nice smooth stroke, which is normal.
Jake you're talking about?
Yeah.
Well, he's got a great shot. I reckon it's just rhythm. Basketball is such a rhythm game. When you got 4 fouls, it's hard to stay on the flow. He'll be all right.
Anderson nearly steals it. They're going to get a foul on Izzy Tueta. On top of Aaron Anderson. That's Izzy Tueta's first personal.
Izzy's face was one of shock.
Well, most players don't think they ever foul anybody ever.
Well, Anderson with good hands knocks it away. The ball's 2 meters away and gets picked up.
Wow.
That's a tough finish there from Kopskas too.
Yeah, Kopskas just taking Meal all the way. He struggled to guard these Brisbane guards most of the night.
Hilton gets it out to Meal, 3-pointer short. Josh Tueta with the offensive rebound.
That's where Josh has got to go right back up. Oh. There's a lot of contact out here, fellas.
Kopskas comes up with the steal.
Come on. Like, I love the contact, but you can't then call that. There's a lot of contact down there.
That was our Onwas jam for the night.
Robbed.
Can you talk to the referees and let them know that we need at least one jam a night when we're here in Auchenflower?
I'll see what I can do. I'll put in a request with the commissioner and see if we can guarantee at least one.
All right. We'll
Bare
see.
minimum one.
Let's see what Regan can do. Timeout taken on the floor. We'll take one as well. 7 minutes to go in the third quarter. It's an 11-point lead for the Capitals over the Rip on your QBL Game of the Week, presented to you by Nothing But Net Media and Live Sport Australia. Back with you here at NAB Stadium in Auchenflower. 60-49 the lead for the Brisbane Capitals over the University of Sunshine Coast Rip. Give you a quick update at the Townsville Sunshine Coast Phoenix game. Townsville down 10, 67-57 with 6 to go. Got to give a big shout out to our guy Paul Foster up in Townsville, keeping us up to date with the scores up at the Sunshine Coast.
The fuzz is all over it.
This is dangerous from the Rip here.
Rycard tips it in.
This is dangerous. They've gone to a zone, and this Brisbane team love a zone. The zone lets them move the ball, which is what Brisbane want to do. They all jack threes. The zone gives that up, and then it's hard to rebound out of a zone, as we just saw. That's a dangerous strategy.
Equally too, Dan, I don't mind it, because as long as they tag up and they guard someone in the zone, it can be a really good strategy to disrupt this Brisbane group a little bit as well. Switching, not switching everything, but certainly having different guys with hands up, good energy, pack rebounding. So if played accurately, then it can be something that I think can disrupt the Brisbane offense.
I also reckon the Rip need to try and manufacture somehow action going towards the rim. A lot of jump shots at the moment.
Onwas missed the corner 3. Dave, you said tag up on the zone defense. Can you explain to us simpletons what you mean by that?
Well, just a lot of times 2 threes or 3 twos, right? It's just a lot of hands and noise, and you've got to guard someone. Excuse me. So either you're going to force them middle or force them side, but you've got to guard someone still as a principle in the zone. So the zone is obviously trying to protect an area a little bit better than a man. And again, I think if a team play zones can be super effective. But too many times they have a sloppy 2-3 where they don't communicate. They don't pass on the weak side like that exactly, where almost they lost sight of the weak side forward and he just had a nice rip to the basket and missed.
Well, I just learned something new. Thank you, Dave.
My pleasure. I don't know about Sweet Home Alabama as a pump-up song here at the Auchenflower.
I love it.
Capitol Hill.
Izzy Tueta, teardrop is too strong.
Looked like Izzy thought there was TC on the end of that one, on an alley-oop. He's like, where's my ex-Bullets partner?
I was just going to say, Dave, it's a lot better than the hoedown music they were playing halfway through the women's game, so you may not like it, but
Hoedown.
it's better than what we've heard previously.
I don't mind it. I just wish they'd turn it off after the first 5 minutes.
Hilton has it on now for the Rip.
It's really got sloppy the last couple of minutes. Both teams just offensively really doing it hard.
Nice.
A lot of contact there. They're going to get Onwis for the foul.
What's Onwis asking for? That's
Shot
clearly
clock.
a foul.
Shot clock.
I think he wants the calls on the other end as well.
He's saying this, the last rip through is the same call. I think he's just learnt that in our league, if you look like a superhero with jacked arms, those calls are hard to get. Bit like me on a Wednesday night.
You get no calls.
Not for very different reasons.
Same building, different reasons?
Potentially.
Neal hits them both. Cuts the lead to 8. 4:19 to go in the third quarter.
Brisbane's ball movement. Oh, he almost gave us something. He almost wanted to dunk it for you, Johnny. Could have been.
He would have loved to.
Poster down there. But Brisbane's ball movement is what they pride themselves on. Kick it ahead to the corner, reverse it, full reversal to the other corner. Man or zone. Whoever plays Brisbane, the Rip obviously tonight, I don't think you can allow them to move the ball that easily and that quickly at the pace that they want to move it. You've got to try and cut that off.
I think equally, you need to give Brisbane a little bit of their own medicine. Keep the ball on one side of the floor.
Defensively?
Yeah.
That's what I mean.
Yeah,
you can't let them kick it to the ball side corner here, reverse it all the way across the other side without too much pressure. You want to lock it in.
I mean, that last set then, the defense from the Rip on that zone, to my point, Johnny, before, is they were all over the shop. You know, there was just white guys running around crazy as opposed to guarding and defending an area.
What's wrong with white guys running around crazy?
Well,
white jerseys.
White jerseys.
Oh, my bad.
Hilton loses it out of bounds. They're going to say it went off a Lamb. It's got 14 seconds to go. It's tough to get a true measure of the Rip without Lance Hurdle on the court, because he's a difference maker in this competition. As Neal hits another three.
It's a plantar fascia, just resting it this weekend, but should be all right, is the rumor. So hopefully that means he will be okay come finals time.
Anderson has it stolen by Neal. Neely chases it down and instead gets called for the personal. Second team foul for Brisbane in the quarter. That's Aaron Anderson's second personal as well.
It's not very often you see a referee who lives in the weight room. He is jacked. He is jacked, mate. He is a big, strong dude.
You wouldn't question any of his calls, Dan?
I've never needed to, because every call he's ever made in my games has been correct.
No, he does a good job, Mark. One of the good refs, that's for sure. And
I thought they were all good, Dave.
They are really good, but I think I particularly like him because he gets the banter between player and referee at a really good level. So if you're a clown, he'll treat you like a clown, but if you be respectful, then he'll have a conversation with you.
Yeah.
Neal did a pretty good job selling that offensive foul there. Christian Lamb just ran him over. Good recognition, though. You quite often, as an offensive player, you don't really pay attention where you're going if you're off the ball, if you want to make your cut. And I think Lamb just kind of got caught there. Wasn't really looking forward. He was just making his move.
I agree.
Off the ball, hey? Here's Izzy Tueta pulling up for another three. That's short. The three-pointer's kind of gone away a bit for the Rip. They're having success in the first half. The stats unfortunately down.
He would be 5 of 14 from deep. Is he? He's certainly not shy.
He puts on the Jets, hands off to Meal, who finishes the layup. The lead's cut to 5. The Capitals looking for a timeout.
He was 4 of 7 at the half, Thunder. So obviously the stats have gone a bit funky for us. So sorry to our viewers.
Windsor,
great take.
good take there by Seb, settles it down, increases the lead back up to 7.
That'll annoy Izzy Twitter as well, letting that happen, but good move from Windsor.
And then Reichart steals the pass. Anderson has it. He puts the turbo boosters on. Can't get the layup to fall, but he's fouled. He's going to go to the line for a couple shots.
Sorry, Johnny.
I was just going to say, I think Anderson probably strikes fear in his opponent's hearts when he's got a head of steam going to the rim.
Yeah, but equally too, you know, I think he was pushing the ball going into a sort of a 1-on-3. The Rip didn't need to foul. It's called move your feet, put your arms up, and either A, take a charge, which is what they should have done, or B, just put your hands up and play some good honesty. He was right under the rim. It was going to be a really tough bucket, and all you do is bail him out. He sees the ball go through the hoop a couple more times, and he's like, cool, I'm still feeling it. Just think that they're the little discipline things that means that, you know, they're down 8 to 10 points, and if that's the difference in the game tonight, then they're the little things the Rip have got to clean up if they want to be legit contenders.
Anderson going to get a breather. Kopskas checks back in. Anderson still carrying around a little injury from that weekend trip up in Mackay. He started the game, I think, versus Mackay, but only played a couple minutes. Dave, do you know about that injury at all?
Yeah, he heard it on Wednesday night. It's just a bit of a groin strain or a quad strain, so I think he just precautionally had a bit of time off.
Well, he was trying to throw himself alley-oops in warm-up. Didn't put one down, but was getting upstairs. So I think he's feeling all right.
Yeah.
Ilton got the offensive rebound and was fouled on his putback attempt. So he's going to go to the line for a couple shots.
That's where, to your point earlier, Dave, that's where Louis does his work.
Yeah.
Energy on defense, active, go get your 7-8 boards, and then this is where he gets his buckets. Just scrappy, energetic plays like this.
And again, the Rip have done a good job. They're hanging in there. I'm not sure what the half-time split was. Was it 8 or 9, Johnny?
10.
10, was it? So they're certainly doing okay in the third quarter because just with my eye test, it looks like offensively they're really struggling to score. And again, bailing out with a couple of meal threes has really helped them, and then, you know, scrapping from Louis Ilton. So
let's see what the Rip do. They're going to pull Izzy Tueta, give him a breather. Tueta's got 17 points. Meal leads the Rip with 20. That's Zane Meal.
Gee.
I don't know why they're opening their mouths. Like,
I don't understand at all what just happened. Other than the Caps don't know who's going to shoot the technical. Just go stand on the line. Princeton, this is where you got to pad your stats, baby.
Yeah, the only thing I can assume in a situation like that is Meal obviously wanted to ask a question and probably cross some kind of line.
Yeah.
And I mean, I have 100% faith in Mark Meal that if something was said that crossed a line that was not within the, you know, the QBL code, I mean, he would take them straight away. So obviously something was said that was inappropriate and didn't need to be said. But you're exactly right. Like, at this stage of the game, why are you saying anything?
Yeah.
Like,
especially when
you're not necessary.
Maybe he's frustrated because he's had zero impact on the ball game. Maybe that's where it comes from. But just shut your mouth and just play D. You're down 8 points on the road, playing for a top 4 spot. I don't know why he's talking.
Yeah, he's gone from having no impact to having a negative impact.
Yeah.
It's not good.
Another foul there called. This time looks like it's going to go on Kopskas. That's going to be his 3rd personal foul. Brisbane in the penalty, so going to the free throw line is Louis Ilton for the Rip.
What about the Rip for the all hair team? I mean, we got top knots, we got ponytails, we got.
Yeah, we got some styles.
Yeah, they're styling on the coast.
Got some good-looking people up there.
That's what the
on
girls
the coast.
want, huh?
The Rip women's team also wins some style points down there, cheering on the men's, looking very fashionable. Mackay have got the all tattoo team title locked down, so the Rip making their run.
I think the Nothing But Net Media crew has the balding gray kind of old man look, except for Regan. So we know we're at the bottom of that ladder.
Speak for yourself.
I would Copsicus not. I would take offence to that, except my 70-year-old client commented on my lack of hair yesterday. I couldn't believe it. So his fees just went up, didn't they?
Kopsicus with the 3 increased the lead to 11. We're under a minute to go in the third. This is dangerous times here for the Rip. Onwis got his hands on it. Neal wound up with it. It's 5 on the shot clock. Baseline jump shot rolls home.
Massive bucket.
Wow.
For Zane Neal.
Massive bucket.
Yeah, he really willed that in, and boy, did they need it.
This is why I don't understand the sub to get your best player off the court at the end of a quarter. Because he's about to get a 2-minute break in a minute's time. Why does he need an extra minute?
Onwis comes down with it. There's about a 5-second differential between game and shot. Kopsicus, top of the key, 3. It's good from Anthony Kopsicus. 12 points of lead now for the Capitals.
Well, at least they're consistent. They left him open not once but twice on back-to-back possessions.
And then Rip on the other end don't realize the clock's running out. The clock expires, and heading into the fourth quarter, it's a 12-point lead for Brisbane, 75-63, guys. Rip got it to within 5, but Brisbane responded and responded well.
Well, it's a really bad end to the second quarter where they give up a bucket with 5 seconds left. Anderson hits a 3, and a really bad end to the third quarter. Maybe some mismanagement on the rotations. I think Izzy Twitter should be on the floor because he's about to sit down and get a 2-minute break right now as well. I think he should have stayed on and leaving Kopsicus. Kopsicus has 15 points, fellas. Very quietly gone about his business, but you can't leave him open for 2 possessions and let him knock down a couple of shots like that. But like Izzy's running the huddle now, obviously trying to have an impact. Lance Hurdle's being sorely missed at this kind of moment in the game, but give Caps credit, I guess. They're just showing that that they're a top 2 team for a reason.
Yeah, they are, and I think, you know, we harp on about, you know, something that Popovich always talked about, how you start games and how you end quarters as key indicators for his groups. And so as far as that, you know, they finished, they're now down a bunch. It'll be quite hard to get out of this hole they've now dug themselves.
Well, they had a 28-point first quarter, I think, from memory.
Yeah.
63 after 3 quarters. So obviously the offense has slowed right down, so it's finding it much harder to score. So they, I wish we had a video on the timeout. Izzy's in the coach's chair running the huddle. That is fantastic. But they need to find ways to generate some points, and I think it's going to come partly off defense and trying to get themselves some transition hoops, because in the half court they're struggling to break down this Capitals defense.
Where do you look for offense if you're the Rip?
Well, I mean, again, the stats are a bit funky, so I'll try and do some quick math. But it looks like Zane's got 22 points, and then Izzy's got 16. But that's kind of it at the moment. So I think. Sorry.
Go ahead.
I was going to say they're shooting the 3 okay, but they're just not getting much out of their spacing. For me, is poor so far. I'm not seeing a great deal of penetrating and kick. When they were good in the first half is when they penetrate, kick, that second and third, making Brisbane have second and third closeouts.
Well, what I would try and do, like the stats is one thing, but just in terms of what can they run to try and create an offense here, I would almost get Izzy, bring it down whatever side of the floor you want, pick a side, give it up, dribble handoff to one of these other guys, loop him all the way through and let him catch it on the full reversal, and then let him try and attack off that. Come set a little on ball or a on ball with the screen on the baseline side. Just give him different looks, almost like that, but with an on ball pick where he can create and get in the seams. Because when he gets in the seams, everyone else gets open.
He hits a 3 to start the fourth, cuts the lead now to 9.
Well, we criticised them, so we'll give credit where it's credit's due. That's the best the offense has moved to the last quarter.
Oh, no doubt. The ball movement's a killer. The Brisbane defense will break down after a couple of reversals, but the challenge is, oh, wow. I love Izzy Tueta, but I'm not sure about that.
I was clearly, Onwis clearly had the hand extended on the hip of Izzy Tueta there.
He definitely sold it well. Princeton's 4th, Jake has 4, so there's some potential problems here too. Kopsicus is asking for a flop warning. There is irony in that, but I think from Sunshine Coast Rip's point of view, trying to move the ball from side to side is a key here.
(75-66) the lead. Then Onwitz comes up with the steal. Goes right through the defender. No call there. He wanted one.
Oh.
A lot of contact. Referees call that foul there on Anthony Kopskas. He doesn't like the call. The crowd doesn't like it either.
Well, he's right to have a bit of a whinge, but he fouled him 3 times dribbling the ball up. So Mark could have called either of those first 3, which he got away with. Then the 4th one, easy. If you hack and reach a few times, it's a foul. It's pretty simple.
Yeah,
but in saying that, Louis Hilton probably got away with an offensive one prior to that.
Yeah, and he got away with an offensive one on that call as Walters fires a 3 too strong. Lamb comes down with it. You can't have that arm extended. You're allowed to have your arm bar to protect the ball, but you can't throw it out and push someone off.
It was an absolute offensive foul, I agree.
I think the Rip need Josh Tueta back in the game. I know he's got 3 fouls and you want to save him, but I just think his presence inside, even with Rory, put them both on together, I just think they need an inside presence. Far too many jump shots at the moment and too many offensive rebounds for Brisbane. Either that, or they got to go small and really speed this game up, but I don't know if that's the style of game they want to play against the Capitals.
Neal driving to the baseline, fadeaway jump shot too strong. Sutton another offensive rebound. Full time up at the Sunshine Coast. It's a 91-69 win for the Phoenix over Townsville. Sunshine Coast playing the spoiler tonight.
91-69, did you say?
91-69 final score for Sunshine Coast Phoenix over Townsville.
That's a terrible, that's a great win for Phoenix. That's a terrible loss for Townsville. 69 points. That is really bad.
Were Townsville missing people? Wow.
Don't think so.
Well, they were missing a lot of people because apparently no one turned up. 69 points, losing to the team who's 14th, 13th.
Hilton gets called for the offensive foul. Kopskas took that one now. Things are starting to get a little chippy here in the 4th quarter, fellas. Been a physical game all night.
But you can't, like on that, the ball comes out of the post and Louis catches it and takes a dribble on the side of the paint that it just came back from. So it's incredibly crowded. Kopskas made a really nice read and took an obvious charge. You got to, like old school, if I was coaching my kids, you'd say if it comes from the left side, rip it and take it to the right side. You got to take it away from the defense or away from where the ball just came from. You can't dribble back into traffic.
Well,
so
I agree, Dan, and their spacing's been a little off tonight because equally, again, Almus has got a couple of deflections and a couple of steals by making a read. It's been a little bit predictable sometimes, I think, their offensive movement.
Lamb skips it to Reichart. Corner 3 is good from Dusty Reichart. Lead is back up to 12.
I don't know if Dusty shot the 3 this well a couple of years ago. He obviously knows Jeff's system, and he is a great knockdown 3-point shooter these days.
Sutton's going to fire a deep 2, too strong. There's Josh Tueta with the offensive rebound.
Yeah.
He's fouled on his way back up. Should be 2 shots for Josh Tueta.
Or not, slide ball.
I think that's the right call.
Yeah.
Tony, as usual, is onto it.
I thought he was shooting, but I'll give it to Tony.
I don't know why he was passing, but it did look like he was.
So the game tomorrow still has implications because if Brisbane wins, they'll finish first. If Townsville wins, they'll finish second in the men's competition. So still a very big game for both teams tomorrow.
Well, let's assume that Brisbane win out. And for the 2nd year in a row, they host the grand final, should they get that far, obviously. Interesting to see how they respond after last year's disappointment.
Great move.
That is just so smooth from Anderson. Use that hesitation dribble, step back, and then step in.
Sorry, Dan, keep going.
No, I was pretty much done. I'm just saying, for a team or an organisation as big as Brisbane that hasn't won a title since 2002, 15 years later, get a chance to host a final for a 2nd year in a row, they would be chomping at the bit on the Capitals bench to get that chance.
Yeah, and they certainly were disappointed, not only in the result, but I think they were disappointed in the way they played in that grand final series last year versus Cairns. I think as soon as that final whistle blew, I think their eyes started looking towards 2017 and another opportunity at the title.
Yeah, I think we've covered a few games, obviously, at the Caps, and I think I like some of their offensive tweaking that they've made, and Almost is a fantastic addition to the program too. So, I mean, they've done this tonight. They're going to have a solid win. Davis has been a complete non-factor, but they've got good contributions from Lamb and Kopsikas tonight. So, and Windsor's come in and given them good minutes as well. I just think it's a more mature group than last year, and we haven't even and Carter hasn't even played tonight. So, I still think, you know, there's a lot of question marks on the top four. All of them are still certainly good enough to win, but Brisbane's playing good hoops at the moment.
I really think, and we've said it a few times, Townsville on their best day is a team that can beat anybody. Cairns is a team that we're not really talking a lot about, but they've got 3 NBL guys on their team. They could certainly do it again. It's just an open competition. I don't know necessarily if you finish in the top 4 how much of an advantage it is for you, really. You still got to come out and play your best game, but you're at home.
Well, playoff basketball is all about matchups, right? And I think the Southwest Metro Pirates are going to match up really well against a few teams as well with the Kendall-McGrew combo. I think what we're trying to say is it's going to be an awesome final series, and whoever wins it is going to absolutely deserve it.
Lamb throws it away on the offensive end for the Capitals, with Brisbane up 12, 5:50 to go in the game. Rip really need to get something going sooner rather than later. They're starting to run out of time, fellas.
Well, I think Mr. Tarrant wasn't happy with Christian's pass. I think the play was fantastic play. Ollie's got to get his mitts up.
Josh Tueta, fadeaway jump shot's good.
Another classic here at the Capitol Hill.
Someone really needs to go up there and take control. In 2017, surely we can get a Spotify connection or something.
How about Aleknowitz hitting the baseline 3, increasing the lead up to 13. He's been good, guys. He's been really good for the Caps.
Well, he's a big body to throw in, which defensively helps.
Well, Sutton had about 48 days in the key.
Under 5 to go, guys. 13 points to the lead. Onward's going to check in.
Well, I blame the guards, to be honest. He had a good job of establishing position, and no one gave him the pill. And they need that kind of, you know, the Rip needs to get a bit more production points in the paint. I know they shoot a lot of threes, which is fine, but equally guys like Sutton and Ilton and, you know, Josh, etc., when they have their little post duck-ins and opportunities, then, you know, look to give them the ball to go to work, just like Dusty's showing you.
Couldn't finish at the rim, Dusty Reichard on that one, but good look.
Great look. I reckon if he had that play 10 times, he'd shoot a little left-hand hook 9.5 times. He's looked so good, Dusty. Super impressed by him.
Anderson caught an elbow on the head. Nothing intentional there.
Yeah, I think it's pretty bad when he looks like he's pretty shaken up.
Scared me there for a second, Thunder.
No. Just looking for the sniper in the roof.
Yeah, we didn't have the greatest of angles on it, but
I remember last year in the finals, a similar scene, and I think it was cramps at that stage for Aaron Anderson, which I think impacted Brisbane heavily in a negative way. And I mean, he is a tough dude, so hopefully he can get through these little niggles. Bumps like that, this little niggle that kept him out on the Mackay trip. If he stays healthy, that obviously helps them. It's an obvious thing to say, but you just never want to see anyone, let alone one of the best players in the league, banged up at this time of year.
Well, Anderson, Caps proved that they could win without Anderson on that road trip. They took Mackay out in Mackay without Aaron Anderson playing. I think he played about 1:30 in that game before he tweaked his calf and had to come out. Jake Davis had a huge game that one. Princeton Onwas had a good one. And let's be honest, guys, you know, we got to give Coach Tarrant and the crew here at Brisbane, they've kind of built this roster, and they seem to kind of regenerate. A couple of guys fell off, and the young guys have stepped up. And we talked, and that was one of the question marks in the preseason about Brisbane. Would players like Jake Davis be able to step up to that next level? Anthony Kopskis up to that next level. Seb Windsor, Christian Lamb, and they have, and that's why Brisbane's in the position they are. So I think we got to give Brisbane credit where we may not have given it to them early in the season. We certainly recognize that now. A lot of perimeter-based action here for the Rip. Meal throws one up, it's off. Sutton, another offensive rebound, and puts it in. The bigs from the Rip have been doing a pretty good job on the offensive glass.
Yeah, they have.
Onwis, hands off for Lamb. Back out to Anderson with 5 on the shot clock. Steps back, then it through again, flips up a wild one. That's an air ball, it's off. Not sure what happened there. I thought they were calling a foul. There's a lot of contact inside.
No, I think it's just a bit of a shot clock issue. It was on 23 seconds, and the ball had clearly traveled from one end of the court to the other. There's no way the shot clock should have been on 23, so they're just fixing that all up, I believe, and just resuming play from the outside.
Good thing you're watching the game, Regan. Saw a lot of the contact underneath. I thought they were blowing that. Izzy Tueta from the wing hits a big 3.
That's tough.
He hasn't hesitated, even though he struggled a bit here in the second half. He's still firing.
Well, they're hanging in, that's for sure. They get a couple of stops here.
Well, Jeff was talking to Christian Lamb as they're running up, and he's just saying, make him put it on the floor. They want him to penetrate. That's a nice move.
Great move by Rijkaard. Finishes strong. 10 points the lead now for Brisbane. Clock is definitely not in the favor of the University of Sunshine Coast Rip. Neal, corner 3 is good. Like you said, guys, they have to get some stops. Do you go to the pressure, try and force some turnovers yet?
Well, the only challenge is they've got a pretty short bench, so the guys have been working hard all game long.
Lamb layup is good, plus the foul.
What was he thinking?
Zeke Meal with the foul on Christian Lamb. Lamb finished the layup plus the foul. Still plenty of time to go though, guys. 2:12 left. And the free throw will put them down 10. It went to the trap. Good recognition from the Caps. Lamb can't finish. Rijkaard steals the rebound. They're going to get him for an offensive foul. Over the back, pushing from behind. That's Rijkaard's second personal. Dusty's got 20 points tonight. He's taking it back to the old school. Brisbane, though, in the penalty, so Sutton's going to go to the line for a couple shots. Rip have 3 team fouls at this point in the quarter.
Well, hung around they have. He hits a couple here, they get a stop. Hit a 3.
Sutton only shoots about at a 60% clip, so I think he's about 3 of 4 tonight. Excuse me, 1 of 3, I should say. Make it 2 of 4. Lead is 8, 2-11. Here comes some pressure from the Rip.
Well, it's a good strategy in trying to get it out of Anderson and Olmos's hands, but the last time they did that, They left Christian Lamb completely alone under the paint for a +1.
Josh Tueta gets called for the personal. That's 4 team fouls. Kopska's going to check in for Jake Davis. Feel like I'm on the streets of Naples. Rykart has to fire a deep one with 1 second to go on the shot clock. It's off. Rip need a bucket, quick one.
Well, you got to get the ball easy to his hands, ASAP.
Josh finds Meal open for 3. It's too strong. Anderson has it for Brisbane.
Oh, good look.
That was a great look. Anderson doing the smart thing, trying to work some clock. He's fouled by Josh.
I don't know about that.
Josh Tueta fouls him, going to send Anderson to the line. That's the 15th foul for the Rip.
It's also the 5th personal foul for Josh, which is not a good one for the Rip.
Ilton has to check in. He was checking in anyway. Tueta, though, Josh fouls out.
Well, they get, credit to the Rip tonight. If you look at the score tomorrow morning and, they lose by 9 or 10, if it stays something like this, you'd go, oh, they pushed Brisbane the whole way. And I don't think the Rip played overly well tonight, which is a good sign, though, because I think they turned it over a bit sloppy defensively. They lost some of their assignments, finding guys on the 3. And then offensively, I didn't think they were super great either. So,
well, I think if they walk in here in a finals game with Lance Hurdle, they'll be confident, which is what they can take out of it.
And I was just going to say, when they go and watch the tape, they got some improvements to do. And, they're in a good show to compete with anyone in the final 8.
Well, I was talking to Coach Rousey before the game, and he was saying they really needed this win. There's the potential for them to drop out of the top 4. Looks like they're going to pick up the 2 losses this weekend. So depending on other results, Rip could be looking at an away game. They'd love the home final, but they could be looking at a trip possibly up north to maybe even Townsville.
Yeah, I mean, their confidence is going to probably take a little bit of a hit after these couple of losses. But I think if they watch the tape, and plenty of positives for them to work on.
If you were Coach Rousey, you look at this game, what are the key areas you think that could have made the difference tonight, Dave, for the Rip?
Well, I think we just talked about a little bit with the turnovers, and offensively, I think, they struggled at times, and equally at times, I think they were really well. They got some really good looks. I mean, Meal and Tueta had plenty of 3s. Like the stats are all messed up, so we can't tell you exactly. But I'm gonna think Meal hit 8 threes, and I think Izzy hit at least 7 maybe. So I think that's one end. I'd like to see again crash in the glass and more. They need some more production points in the paint. Just simple putbacks from Sutton and Ilton. I think that'll help. And obviously Hurdle comes back in if he's healthy. So they're okay.
And how about the Capitals, guys? This was a big win for them tonight. They now have to back up tomorrow to take on Townsville with the top spot on the ladder on the line. If you're Capitals, you look at this game, what are some areas you think you need to tighten up, Dan, heading into the game tomorrow versus Townsville for Caps?
What a great question. I don't know. I reckon the game against Townsville will be a very different game to the one tonight, just given what the Rip do versus what Townsville do. And was it Izzy Tueta, Josh Wiltshire, 2 great point guards. If you had a Baker and these other guys in, it's going to be a different style of game. But I think the Capitals have done tonight what they always do. And I think there's some confusion from the Rip about whether there's fouling or not. But Aaron Anderson is loving this, just padding those stats, getting his numbers up.
He's got 29.
Well, I think Ilton's fouled out as well now.
But the Capitals play this pack defense. They force jump shots, which is what they've done for the Rip tonight. The Rip have made a few, not enough to get a win. Brisbane's offense has looked okay. I just think they play the one style of game, and doesn't matter who they're playing against, they'll roll out the same strategy, and teams by now know what Jeff's squad are going to do, and still they struggle to stop them.
Anderson hits the 30-point mark with that first one. Make it 31 with the second.
And I would
10
expect
points.
the Capitals to get another win tomorrow as well. I don't know what that would do to Townsville in terms of standings, but I think at home with top spot up for grabs, I reckon the Capitals, and Onwards has had a night off tonight. Jack Davis has had a night off in terms of they haven't had to do too much. And I would expect them to come out and get a win tomorrow night and lock up top spot and home court throughout the playoffs.
Rijkaard had a huge game. He finishes with 20. Kopskis has 15. Christian Lamb had 11. So a couple of guys that you wouldn't expect to be hitting that figures, like Lamb hitting double digits and Kopskis hitting double digits. You don't know with Brisbane who can step up because they have multiple players who could get you a bucket.
Yeah, they sure do, and I think they'll get a lot of confidence in the win tonight against a good Rip team. And they'll be chomping at the bit, especially considering Townsville got whipped tonight.
And Townsville equally should come out hurting and a little bit embarrassed and say, we are so much better than what we've just put on the floor off the coast tonight. They should come out on fire tomorrow as well in terms of an energy point of view.
Jake Davis loses it going up for an easy layup. Just hasn't been Jake's night tonight.
I'll help him out. Don't watch the tape, Jake. Don't watch tonight's game. Worry about tomorrow.
Walters' three-pointer goes down. Rip still playing to win. Gonna get a foul call there. Looks like it's gonna go on Walters against Kopska, so he'll go to the free throw line. We won't really know what predictions or what matchups we're gonna have, guys, but now that we've seen every single team live in person, I'm gonna give you the opportunity because I asked you the same question in the preseason, but heading into the finals, guys, who's your favorite and who's your prediction to win it all?
Go ahead, Dave.
Well, I don't think I've changed my tune too much from the start of the year. I think we said Brisbane, Townsville, Southwest, and Cairns were our top four, and again people thought we were crazy because we said the Rip were a smoky. And I think any of those five can still win it. I mean, who's going to win to get through when it matters? And again, experience matters a lot, and continuity matters a lot. And home finals help a little bit. So I think the Brisbanes of the world are well positioned. And then equally, Southwest have put a squad together at the right time of the season as well. And then you can't sleep on Mackay and Cairns, who are both programs that have been successful. So really tough to say. I think Brisbane's playing good ball right now. And them or Mackay would probably be my tips for the GF, who are the two teams that get through.
All right, so you're making somewhat of a prediction. I asked him for a winner.
He just spoke for 5 minutes, and I still don't know who he's picking.
Oh, I mean...
All right, I'm going Brisbane.
All right.
Brisbane, there you go.
Okay, we got one. Dan?
Do I have 5 minutes as well?
You can talk. You know you have an open mic.
Well,
they want analysis.
I mean,
I'm trying to give some analysis.
Well, I think Brisbane, if they're going to get home court, I reckon that's massive for the Capitals. And I think they'll be incredibly hard to beat. But over a 3-game win 2, obviously, grand final series, I reckon Southwest is dangerous, but I think it's Cairns or Mackay. Just given the experience come finals basketball, there's 90 seconds on the clock. It's a tight game. You got the likes in Cairns.
No Loughton now.
Well, that hurts, and that's the concern. But still, they've got
no trigger.
Way,
no trigger
Hoyer,
for Cairns.
Weeks, all those guys in Cairns,
Yeah.
and obviously a coaching team that have done a great job and have won titles. Mackay, obviously really good, but I'm going to say home court, off the hurt of last year, it's the Capitals' title to lose.
Well, it's still not definite that they will have home court. They'll get the win tonight here over the Rip. They still have to get the win over Townsville tomorrow to secure that home court.
Well, I would be really surprised if they don't get that tomorrow. So I would, and they...
4 points. Guys, we're down to 4.
I was about to say.
2 to go.
I was about to say, I would be shocked if they don't get a win tomorrow to wrap up home court. And if that's the case, it's their title to lose from there. But I would look at Cairns or Mackay as real favourites. If I just done a double D and no one knows who I'm actually picking, I don't think I know who I'm picking.
Well, you
Brisbane
also
at
have
home.
mentioned about
I talked about the top
95%
five.
of the teams.
Yeah. And you want to throw stones here.
I'm
rich.
putting you on the spot. Pick
That's
one.
rich.
Give us the one that you're calling to win it all.
Mackay.
Mackay's the winner. All right.
Or
I don't
Brisbane.
have.
I picked your grand final. I said I think Mackay Brisbane will be your GF.
I just think in a best of three, Mackay is too experienced.
Well, I just
However, if
I-
Sean Bruce is commuting from Brisbane for pre-season, and if Lucas Walker's commuting from Perth for Wildcats pre-season, I don't know if I like that. Give me something. Dunk that. Oh, we could have had a poster.
Well, Rip definitely made it tight towards the end, but Brisbane held on for the win, 97-91. They're still on track for that minor premiership, guys. A big win tonight. Rip just couldn't find that consistent offense, and they were a bit patchy in spots in defense, but they're still going to be a threat going into the finals. They had a Lance Hurdle to that, but you got to be happy if you're Coach Tarrant. You get a quiet night from Princeton onwards, a quiet night from Jake Davis. Your veteran players step up, though, and Aaron Anderson and Dusty Reichart to carry you to a win. And you head into tomorrow with an opportunity still to secure first spot on the ladder heading into the finals.
Well, and equally with the Rip. I mean, can you see the final stats at all, Johnny? But I mean, Meal had a monster game. He had to have had 9 or 10 threes, right?
And
28
Meal
points.
finished with 28.
Yeah. So equally, they kind of picked up a little bit of Hurdle slack tonight because he's only averaged 13 a game for the season. But I agree. You know, home court means a lot for the team. But like we said, I think Mackay and Brisbane would be the teams to beat in the finals. Looking forward to the playoffs.
Yeah, it was a great game, guys. I'll just ask you for a couple. I know we talked extensively about it, but just your final thoughts before I wrap it up.
Well, another good convincing win from the Caps. Ripper got a little bit of work to do, but they should feel good about themselves. Go watch some tape, fix up some stuff for next week. Looking forward to the playoffs.
Dan?
Well, I think it's going to be an awesome final series. I think the Caps tonight have shown what they do, and everyone knows what they do, but no one seems to be able to break it down enough to stop them, and they're going to take a lot of beating in the finals. So credit to them, and USC, second year in the league, second year as a program, for them to finish top 4 or top 6 or wherever they end up falling is an awesome achievement, but they can't be satisfied, and I'm sure they're not. Exciting couple of games for them coming from the postseason as well, hopefully. So a great game tonight, but Brisbane looking like title contenders for sure.
All right, well, that's going to do things for us, guys. Don't forget to tune in tomorrow. Tomorrow morning at 11 a.m., we'll have the Townsville Flames versus the Brisbane Capitals women, followed by the Townsville Heat versus the Brisbane Capitals men at 1 p.m. That's going to do it for us here. I want to thank my guys on the broadcast partners, Dave Derwin and Dan George. I also want to thank Chris Heber on the camera, Regan Baker on the production panel, and, of course, James Bowman and the Australian Sports Network for all their support and graphics done. Guys, thanks, everyone, for tuning in to another presentation of QBL Basketball presented to you by Nothing But Net Media and Live Sport Australia. We'll see you tomorrow.